This is AndyTube. In this video I'm going to work on Oh No, and I'm going to check and or set the feed dog lengthwise in the throat plate slots. Now in a previous video we checked and set the height of the feed dog, but sometimes how the feed dog sits lengthwise in that throat plate is out of adjustment. It's too far forward or too far back. And if it is, the first thing you might notice is a ticking or nicking sound as the feed dog scrapes on the throat plate. But irregardless, this is how you would check it and set it. So this is the feed rock shaft, and the adjustment is made down here on this screw. If you saw my other video on the feed lift shaft, we loosened the nut and adjusted the screw to raise or lower the feed dog. And it's basically going to be the same thing down here. We're going to loosen that nut and we're going to adjust by using the screw to get the feed dog in the right spot lengthwise. Now for this, you're really going to have to take out the motor, because there's just no way to get a screwdriver in here to adjust the screw. So normally what you would do is loosen the screw that holds this motor retention bracket, and don't snap it off and crack the screw head off the way I did. Just loosen the screw and pull out that bracket. I didn't mention this in the other video, but if you're new to working on your machine, it's very good to take pictures before and during what you're doing. So when you go to put stuff back together, you don't have to remember. And a good example of this, and questions I get frequently, is this red and black motor wire. Which goes where? Personally, I don't think it matters, because the plug that goes into the wall isn't polarized and you can turn it one way or the other. But in the service manuals for this type of machine and the diagrams, it shows the red wire on the left, and that's how I found it on Oh No. But yours may be different, so just a good time, take a picture so when you go to put it back on, you won't have to try and remember. And then these little plugs on the end of the wires, you can turn that a little, just pull off. Oh good, my motor's really loose, that's good. Just pull off like that of the little pins that are on the motor. So pull them off and pull the motor out. Now this motor was pretty loose in there, which usually is not the case. If your motor won't pull out easy like that, you can take the top cover off and wiggle the hand wheel some, try and push down on the top of the motor shaft up there above the worm gear. A lot of times what I will do, stand the machine upright, and so can you still see? Yeah. And I'll just kind of lift the hand wheel end of the machine an inch or two and drop it like that. I've had cases where I had to take off the top cover plate, the screw at the front and the back, and blow some warm air in there. The motor sits up in a tube. Okay, so I took off the arm cover screws, the two screws that hold the arm cover on. We put those over here in a container. Be sure you keep good track of your parts. Put them in a container. I personally like to use Ziplocs. People use cups, little paper cups or drink cups, and a lot of people now are used like an egg carton. But whatever works for you. But it's usually better not to co-mingle the parts because some of the screws look similar. I've taken the arm cover off of Ono, so I'm going to put that aside. And when I got up in here, I could just wiggle the hand wheel and push down on the motor, and I heard it drop. So I'm going to come down here now and just pull the motor out. Okay. So you see a little varnishing here. There's some fresh oil. Shouldn't be oil up here on the metal gear, but there is. But anyway, this oil can dry up in the tube up in there and get stuck. So if your motor doesn't want to come out, I've tapped on it real lightly, like with a plastic screwdriver handle, and it's come free. But you can blow warm air from the bottom up or the top down, and that will usually soften the dried oil enough to get it to drop the motor out. And I guess there's another thing at this point, since I had to take the cover off. I think I'm going to take the nose plate off because I don't want it swinging around. It just hangs on a couple of pins, and they're pretty famous for breaking. So I'm just going to gently open that up, and in these two little hinges here and down here are two little pins. They just kind of look like nails. So I'm just going to lift that up about a 1/4 inch and pull out the bottom and the top. You can see those two little hinge pins, and I don't want this flapping around and breaking those, so I'm just going to take off the nose cover too. Okay, while I'm up here, let's take a look at that feed dog in the needle plate, in the throat plate. See if I can get a pretty good shot of it here. Not sure how. Well, that's pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to turn the hand wheel now, and you'll see the feed dog go down and come up, and this really is located fine on this machine. It comes up just the first little tooth comes up here, right there, just barely before the opening, and then as it lifts up, of course it's going towards the back, and before it gets to the back it goes down, and that's what you want. You want it close to the front. You want it set close here, and but not close enough that it hits. So if it's out of adjustment, it can kind of scrape right here when it comes up. Right there, it can scrape. Or if it's set too far back, on the way down, the last tooth can scrape back here. So if it comes up very close to the front, you see how much room is left back here, kind of opening. That's fine. That you're good. But if it's coming up away from the front and barely clearing the back before you go down, then you might want to adjust it. So let's go down here below. And See here, now I can get my offset screwdriver in here. There is a little plug here. It's a little metal plug if you want to go on the inside and knock it out, so you could get a screwdriver. You could get a screwdriver through there to turn that. You may be able to get enough of a side angle here to turn that knob or screw, or you may want to use an angled screwdriver, and I think the Chapman mini ratchet would fit in there now, but I'm going to go in there and I'm going to hold this nut, the lock nut, with my 3/8 inch open end, and it would turn counterclockwise or lefty loosey. To loosen that, see if I can get some more light on there. But a lot of times it's so stuck on that screw that it will move the whole screw when you try and, yeah, see, it's moving the whole screw here. So I've got to kind of hold the nut and turn the screw, or hold the screw and turn the nut. There we go. Now it's loose enough. Look, I could even just turn it by hand. Okay, that was pretty easy. So to adjust, it's just like the height adjustment. You're going to just stick your screwdriver in here, and you're going to turn it left or right to move the position lengthwise of the feed dog. So I'm going to rearrange this so you can see the feed dog moving, but this is the action I would be taking right here, like that, or with the offset, or with a kind of regular screwdriver and an angle. You know, I can get in here and turn this, okay? And in the instructions, it just says that before you do this, you make sure the height of your feed dog is correct. So you would want to check and set the height, if necessary, of the feed dog before you change the length. Now, it doesn't say anything for this about putting the stitch length lever in the number 8 stitch position. It doesn't mention that at all. So I don't think that matters. So let me rearrange this so I can show you the feed dog moving in the throat plate, and then you will know how I'm turning the screwdriver here to make that adjustment. Okay, that's the best shot I can give you on this. Okay, I'm going to rotate the hand wheel towards the front of the machine, and you can watch the feed dog go to the back. Now it's going down, it's coming towards the front, and it's lifting up. Okay, and that's how I like to set it for the adjustment, so I can see how far towards the front it comes. And like I said, this one was set perfectly, but I'm going to change that adjustment now to show you. So I'm turning that screw, and you see the feed dog is moving down towards the back of the machine a little bit. See how it moves lengthwise, back and forth. So if I made it farther away, then if I rotated the hand wheel, you see as it's going to the back, before it goes down, it's already at the limit of the throat plate. Now it's going down. It's going to come up, and it's not as near the front. From my perspective, I can look down in there and see black space. So, and before where it had a little bit of space down here, now it's grazing the throat plate before it goes down. You can see the backward movement kind of stops and then it goes down. Okay, so that's why you might hear a little zing or click if this is out of adjustment, where it's hitting here as it's coming up, or it's scraping or hitting at the back here as it's going down. So let me turn it back to a proper setting. Rotate the hand wheel, bring it up just as it starts to come up out of the slot. I'm going to turn that screw. Now I don't want it so close like that it's going to nick that throat plate on the way up. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of space there. Now let me turn the hand wheel and try this. Okay, now the hand wheel is going down about a, I don't know, 64th or 32nd of an inch before it hits the back of the slot. As a matter of fact, I think I could move it just a tiny bit more forward. Let me try that. Because they've always told me the closer it comes up to the front, the better. They never said why. I like that right there. So I'm going to leave that screw where it is and reposition the machine and camera so I can show you how to tighten it up, that lock nut, while keeping the position that I have the dog in. Okay, so look what I found. It was real awkward for me to try and work around the camera and film it and everything with my offset screwdriver. And I saw the dime I used the other day on adjusting the height, so I tried it and it fits perfect in that screwdriver. So I just was using that dime to turn the screw back and forth. So now I want to maintain the position of that screw while I tighten the lock nut. See if I can do a little by hand. Okay. I can get in here now and try and hold that screw in there steady. Well, I'm getting close to having it be tight here. I think I might have budged it. Let me look a little. Oh, it looks good. When you're doing this yourself, it's going to be a lot easier. And it's really kind of rare that you would have to do this. changing the height for some people, for some reason, people mess with the height. And I really think it's because they don't realize the throw out thumb nut has been turned and their feed dog seems low. So they learn how to adjust the height. But it's pretty rare that I've ever had to adjust the length in the throat plate. Just not common to have to do that at all. But if you do have to do it, now you know how. You know how to check it, and you know how easy it is, come on you, to get in here and do it. And like I said, when you're not working around a camera and all that, it's a lot easier to do than I'm making it look. Okay, so let me just do my hand wheel turn and test it one more time. Beautiful. Very, very nice. So I know I've got the height right. We did that in the other video. And I've got my length back where it was before, which was in a very good position. And that's how you check and or set the feed dog lengthways into the throat plate slots. Hopefully you won't ever need to do that, but you just never know. You just never know what you're going to come across. So this way you can do it, or you can bookmark the video, and you'll just come back and see it. Very easy. Thanks for tuning in for this video, and check back with my channel if you're not a subscriber, because I'll be doing some more technical adjustments on oh no. And I haven't heard from anybody yet how to get this busted off screw out of here. So don't forget, if somebody can give me some clues on that, I would really appreciate it. Let's just take a look at that feed dog one more time there. Rotate the hand wheel. Comes up just before the end of the slot, goes towards the back, and it goes down a nice space left before the throat plate. Yay! Okay. Take care, you guys. I hope to see you again on AndyTube. Bye bye. You're kind of a troublemaker, aren't you? Oh no. Oh, I see. I'm the one that broke the screw. Well, you're right. You're right. I guess I'm the troublemaker. Huh?